Hey, welcome back to the Spector Creative channel, and today I want to talk about side quests. Now, I don't talk about video games on this channel pretty much almost ever, so why am I talking about something that tends to be the bane of every video game player's existence when they have to go around on some crazy adventure just to get an item to actually move forward on the main quest? Well, it doesn't have to be thought of in a negative connotation that way. I tend to have my own way of looking at side quests, probably because I'm not really a video gamer. I mean, I still have my 8-bit Nintendo and I play it all the time, but that was kind of the limit of my video game experience as a child and adult. So the way I look at a side quest as it's something you're enjoying, not something you're dreading, because at the end there's a payoff. And this should be fun to do, right? I mean, as the great American poet Snoop Dogg said, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. And I believe what he meant by this is that you need to support your local comic book shop. Okay, maybe that's not what he meant. But what the concept is that you should be enjoying yourself and having fun while you're going out looking for things. Now, most of us are very loyal to our local comic book shop. It's a very good thing because we need to do everything we can to keep this industry in business. And that's why I tend to always patronize comic book shops over buying comic books on things like Amazon or, even trades. So I'm actually very fortunate that let me put it this way. I've always had a good comic book shop wherever I've been. And I guess I've always been attached to whichever one, whether it was in State Street in Santa Barbara or at the Marketplace in Irvine in Orange County or right now in North Carolina. I actually am lucky enough that Acme Comics, one of the world's largest and oldest comic book shops, is right around the corner from me. So is Sailfish. we have like so many comic book shops in this town. It's crazy. But what about when you're not in your hometown? That's where I want to bring it all together, right? I mean, come on, even nerds need vacations, right? And sometimes it's because we got dragged on them by our parents, or sometimes now that we are the parents, we're dragging our kids on them in order to ensure they have that damn good childhood. Now, when you go on a vacation, things aren't quite right. I mean, they're wonderful, but things seem a little different because it's a different city. And with that comes different comic book shops, right? See what I'm kind of getting at? One of the things I love about going on vacation, beyond the fact that I can work and enjoy time with my family, is it's a new town, and usually it's someplace far away from where I am in my normal hunting ground, which means that I always try to visit comic book shops in every town I visit, even when I'm on business trips. And it's not just because of the enjoyment, it's because of the side quest nature. So allow me to, extrapolate on that a little bit. So there are certain items that I know I'm always looking for, and obviously I haven't found them in my local comic book shop. Now, there's a reason to visit famous comic book shops, and there's plenty of them around the country, and that's usually for bragging rights. It's the same reason we collect toys. You want to say, like, I went to this store. More's the pity that St. Mark's is closed. But every major city in the U.S. usually has a corresponding large comic book store that is also a semi-tourist destination. When you're on vacation and you need that break from your family, or just, it's funny how even on vacation, sometimes you need a vacation from your vacation. To me, there's nothing like finding a local comic shop, one I've never been in before. Now, the farther you get from home, I mean, in Europe, comic books have a very different cultural meaning and even content. In fact, I love how in France they're called bound drawings, is the translation. They don't have the word comic book. So you'll see albums and bounding stores instead of comic book stores if you happen to be visiting France. And the joy I get from visiting these, not just obviously supporting comic book shops wherever they are, but it's that chance to fulfill a side quest. It's the chance to randomly stroll down some Paris lane into a comic book shop and hope they understand your broken French that you can ask for something you've been looking for. It's because all of us as collectors, and whether you're a comic book collector, a toy collector, sports memorabilia, we have that whole collect them all mentality. We want to have a full set. We want to complete that quest. The reason we collect is because of the fulfillment of that innate human desire to achieve victory, and that's where that quest motif comes from. But looking for things as a comic or toy nerd, well, you don't exactly have a treasure map, and X never ever marks the spot unless you're in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. As an example, Savage Dragon, comic book I really enjoy, often has a free comic book day version. And over the years, I've missed one or two of them, like this one, which had a couple pages from it was like a future shock. It was an issue that was going to come out in 2 years. It was like a sneak preview. And I finally found it in some random shop. Or like X-Force's Rob Liefeld's run. I've kind of always wanted to read it. I'm a big fan of the X-Men animated series. I have a lot of these figures in this deco, the style on my toy shelf, and I always wanted to read the issues, but the trade was impossible to find. So it kind of became a race. Would I find the trade or the individual issues first? And that was something that I looked for while on vacation. Another example is the Max. I had read the first 10 or so issues, really loved them, kind of dropped it in college, but I've always wanted to read the whole thing. I've heard it's a great, solid read, all, I think, 35 issues. So I've been slowly hunting down the Wildstorm trade paperbacks. Likewise, there's sometimes things that you've actually lost that you want to replace, and comic book store quests can do that. For me, my Salacious Crumb that came with Oola, his tail broke off. Probably just, 20 years, and that happens. Now, I know I could easily buy this on eBay right now for like $10, right? And I could be done and be satisfied that I now have this figure replaced. But I purposefully don't do that. I know that I could also easily get this figure if I bought an Animanime. This guy, the big yellow banana dude that's taller than he should be. He also came with the same Salacious Crumb, but since this one originally came with Oola, because I'm a new hat collector and obsessive compulsive when it comes to Star Wars, I want to find Oola again, and I want to do it in a comic book shop, or etc. My holy grail, or my golden goose, my white whale, is this guy, the Boba Fett with literally new hat. It was just new string. Same Boba Fett, just a piece of string. But I haven't been able to find this figure. It was only shipped to Canada during the whole Attack of the Clones transition and Disney purchasing it. So that's one of the reasons that on vacation I like having side quests, because I purposefully keep certain things for that to give me an excuse to visit these stores and that awesome reward and fun when you do find something. That, to me, is what a side quest for a toy collector is. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to know in the comments below, do you do this? Do you have items that you kind of keep on a list to always look for on vacation to give you an excuse to go into comic book stores while away from home? Let me know, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for sharing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.